Okay, today we're doing ratio and rates, and we're going to learn to divide in a ratio. Now, you don't always want to divide things evenly. Sometimes, for example, the people who own a business, they might have invested in the business in different proportions, and so it's only fair that they share their profits in the same proportion of their ownership. So this is why we need to be able to divide in a ratio. So the first question here, it says divide 1,430 in the ratio 2:3. So what you want to do is, first of all, add your 2 and your 3 together. So that's telling you that altogether there is 5 parts. Okay? Now we could pretend that these are 2 people here. This first person owns 2 parts, and the second person has 3 parts. Altogether, that's a total of 5 parts. So what we can do is we can say the first person has 2 out of 5 parts. The second person has 3 out of the total of 5 parts. That's the fraction, I guess, of their ownership, if this is the business, the fraction of their investment. So what we would do is multiply their fraction by the amount that we are dividing. So we multiply 2/5 times by 1,430, and that will tell us what the first portion is. And 3/5, not equals, multiply by 1,430 will tell you the second one. So let's find out what those are equal to. Let's start with the fraction. 2/3. No, now I'm typing it in wrong. Let's start all over again. 2/5 times by 1,430 is equal to 572. Okay, and the second one, 3/5 times 1,430 is equal to... Now, these two amounts should obviously add up to be the total here. So you can always add those together at the end as a check. There it is. Okay, so 1,430 divided in the ratio 2:3 is 572 to 858. Okay, here we have a more practical question, question 2. The 3 angles in a triangle are in the ratio 2:3:4. Find the size of each angle. So the first thing we do is add all our bits together here. 4 plus 3 plus 2, so that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 9 parts. Okay, so we make them into fractions. We have 2 out of 9. 3 out of 9 and 4 out of 9. But what are we timesing these by? Okay, we're talking about a triangle. Now hopefully you've done some work with triangles before, and hopefully that you've learned that all triangles have the same number of degrees as the angle sum. It is always 180 degrees is the angle sum of a triangle. So the sum of these 3 angles must be 180. So I'm going to times them each by 180. So that's a bit of a trick to that question. You have to know a bit about triangles. So let's calculate each of those amounts. 2/9 times 180 is 40 degrees, would be my first angle. Okay, then I want 3/9 is 60 degrees. And the last one, 4/80 degrees. Okay, so the size of each of my angles, 40, 60, and 80 degrees. Let's look at question 3. Jason and Simon share a packet of jelly beans in the ratio 3:4. If there is a total of 210 jelly beans in the packet, how many does Simon get? Okay, so we don't actually want to know what Jason gets, just Simon. Now we still need to add our parts together here. So that's a total of 7 parts. But we're only interested in the part that Simon gets. Jason was the 3, Simon is the 4. So instead of working out both of them, let's just work out Simon. He gets 4 out of the 7. We multiply that by the 210 jelly beans, which means that Simon gets 4 out of 7 times 210. He gets 120 jelly beans. Sounds like a lot of jelly beans. Okay, question 4. The perimeter of a rectangle is 140 centimeters. If the ratio of the length and the breadth is 5 to 2, find the dimensions of the rectangle. So sometimes when you're talking about shapes, it can help to have a little diagram. Here is my rectangle. When you're doing perimeter, you're talking about adding up all the sides. So we know the length represents the 5 and the breadth represents the 2. Now that's not how long they are, that's the ratio, I guess. That's the ratio of the side lengths. Now, but this would also be a 5 and this would also be a 2. So what I could do is, instead of the perimeter being the whole 140 being the whole thing, what I should do is I should just say, well, I'm going to divide by 70 centimeters, which is half, so that I only have to focus on having one length and one breadth. Okay, that makes it a little bit easier, doesn't it? I don't want 2 lengths and 2 breadths, that makes it too complicated. 1 length and 1 breadth would be equal to 70 centimeters. So 5 and 2 means that I have 7 parts. Okay, so the length would be 5 out of 7 times 70, and the breadth would be 2 out of 7 times 70. Okay, so you can type those in, or those ones are actually pretty easy to do in your head, but let's just keep with typing them in. Okay, 5 over 7 times 70 is 50. And you guessed it, probably the 2 over 7 times 70 is 20 centimeters. So it's 50 centimeters is the length and 20 centimeters is the breadth. Okay, so that was a little bit tricky there with the wording, but that's how we do that question. Okay, time for your practice questions. So 3 questions for you. Pause the video, give them a go, and restart for the answers. Question 1. We have a total of 3 parts here. So dividing 336 in the ratio 1 to 2, we would do 1 over 3 times 336 and 2 over 3 times 336. Okay? Typing in 1 over 3 times 336 is 112. Now this is in dollars, so $112. And the second one, we get 2. $224. Excuse me. Question 2, divide $1,890 in the ratio 1 to 3 to 5. So add all our numbers together, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 parts. Okay, so the first part is going to be worth 1 out of the 9 times 1,890. The second part is 3 out of the 9 times 1,890. And you guessed it, the third one is 5 out of 9. So then comes the calculation time. 1 out of 9 times 1890 is, again they're dollars, $210. Okay, just using my calculator to change that to a 3. is $630 for the second one, and $1,050, whoops, $50 for the third one. Okay, lucky last question. In a family, 3 children get their pocket money in the ratio of their ages, which are 14 years, 12 years, and 10 years old. If the total of the allowances is $30, how much does each child receive? Okay, so this is your ratio, 14 to 12 to 10. Okay, so adding those together, we get a total of 36 parts. You could have simplified them, but we can do it with 36 parts. The first child is getting 14 out of the 36 parts, times by the $30 allowance. Second child is 12. And the youngest child is 10. Okay, let's calculate how much each one gets. So 14 over 36 times by $30. Oh dear, doesn't round very nicely. The first child gets $11. Let's round it to the nearest 5 cents because it's money. So let's make that 65. Okay, and the next one, 12 over 36. They get a nice even $10. And the youngest child gets $8.35. Okay, add them all up. Remember, you can add them all up to make sure that it works. Look at that, $30. Okay, so that's it for dividing in a ratio. Let's catch you next time for my next video on scale drawing. Bye for now.